It's TDS Thursday, everybody. The bad hair dye has seeped into his brain. George Clooney is worried that Trump's targeting him.
Do you worry about, personally being targeted by the administration?
Sure, everybody worries about it, but if you spend your life worrying about things, then you won't do things.
Do you think Trumpism lasts beyond this term?
Don't think so. They're going to have to go looking for someone who can deliver the message that he delivered with the same kind of charisma, and they don't have that.
You have. And Jim Acosta held a resistance Woodstock featuring headliners like Rosie O'Donnell and Crockett Rocket, and this lady who came out in a taco hat. The show even had an encore. Pull out the phone and dim the lights.
Pull out the phone, turn the light on. You guys too. It may feel like we are surrounded in darkness. This is not a country that is being plunged into darkness. This is a country that can find its way back to the light. Keep watching us in independent media. We're going to give you the truth.
Now, when Gutfeld goes on the road, you ask the audience to do that, right?
Exactly. I also asked them to throw their bras at me. You know what? There's only one person on the planet who takes Jim Acosta seriously, and it's Jim Acosta. To have any less self-awareness than this pompous ass, you'd have to be dead. He literally, I can't, he's parodying himself. This is comedy. I'm going to do a whole segment on it tonight because I loved it. Clooney, there's something about when you say that you're being targeted that is an ego trip. It's basically saying, like, I am so important that, I'm on the list. But if he believes it, he only should blame himself because he basically brainwashed himself. You're seeing a lot of the narratives of hysteria in which they try to compel us to believe, and we don't. We don't buy into it. They ended up consuming the hysteria. So they're in, that's what TDS is that they brainwash themselves into thinking that this somehow is they're in danger. What's amazing, and I think that a big untold story, is how the public has refused to be compelled into their fantasy. Even more, we vocalize it. We mock it. We say, no, we're not going to. It's like when people were doing pronouns. No, we're not going to do that. Go screw yourself. We don't care. This kind of stuff, we're just laughing at it. It's an incredible freedom. And that's why this show does great, and all of our shows do great, and comedy's back, is because we are free of this, and we refuse to have our thoughts compelled by these people.
Yeah, they don't seem happy. They've created this alternative reality for themselves. They're living a miserable life, while the rest of us are like, oh, the golden age, not that bad.
Yeah, you have to go back all the way to 2016 when George Clooney was very confident that there would not be a Donald Trump presidency, and he said so. He goes on to point out that this is a celebrity, he's charismatic, there will be nobody who can deliver a message like Donald Trump. Therefore, I think his prediction is that the Republicans can't possibly win again without a Donald Trump or somebody identical to him. I don't think Democrats are offering somebody out there right now who can possibly carry on their message. He wasn't even challenged in that interview on that, which I think is fascinating. I look at George Clooney. I try to forget about the hair dye because that's an issue. He's super wealthy, right? Millions of dollars, super successful movies, handsome guy, charismatic, beautiful wife. And I don't know why they don't hang out in Lake Como a little bit more rather than walk around and tell the American people what they should be thinking. It just kind of blows my mind. I don't know. I don't understand how you just don't go enjoy life, George Clooney. Let us enjoy your movies.
Sandra's mind's blown. Harold, should George Clooney run for president as a Democrat?
If he wants to, he should. I think that, and I don't mean that flippantly. I mean, he has a lot of thoughts, and he is involved in the party.
Yeah, George and I.
George and I.
We like Cuomo.
So here's what I don't get with the Acosta and with Mr. Clooney. Here you have a moment where we don't have a trade deal but for Great Britain. The wars in Ukraine, the Middle East rage still. I want them to come to an end. The president said he would end them on day one. Inflation is still high.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
Prices are high. Inflation's down.
The uncertainty around for small businesses. All I'm saying is this is the conversation you should be having. We may differ on that, and that's fine. But I wouldn't be out talking about with Acosta those kinds of things. Look, I'm not in the cell phone light business, like in waving and stuff. I think that's a good. Some people have to do that, but there are issues. The reason that people voted for President Trump, we talked around this, was because he's speaking to them. This doesn't connect with anything other than the small group of people around us. Now, with Mr. Clooney and I think Mr. Cooper, had they done that interview like an hour ago after the Musk-Trump breakup, maybe they would have had a different kind of segment on. Maybe he would have said, look. Mr. Trump is now going after his great friend, saying he's going to cancel contracts. Might have had a different conversation about it, but that still doesn't make me depart from my belief that we should be substantive. We should be talking about the things we want to do. We should be laying out something positive, things that we're for the country, because that's the only way we're going to win.
You tangled with Acosta a few times. How do you think he's doing, Kayleigh?
Life comes full circle. He went from yelling at me in the Brady press briefing room to yelling into a half-empty venue of activists. And I'm just wondering, I told his CNN colleague I wouldn't call on her because she was an activist and not a journalist. And I'm wondering, can we all agree he's now an activist? He's standing by someone in an F. Donald shirt, another person in a taco cap, while he's very clearly engaging in advocacy for the left. And he gets away with his lies. I mean, I'll never forget the moment he invoked Dr. Martin Luther King, because I had shared a very nice quote from Dr. Martin Luther King at the podium about Lafayette Square. And he said, if you had to do it again, would you have gassed and pummeled protesters so Trump could take a photo with the Bible? Well, a year later, the Inspector General under Biden said that never happened and there was no evidence. And off Jim Acosta goes into the glory of left-wing activism with zero accountability. I guess there was some. CNN fired him, but they should have fired him for his lies, not for being a bad television host.
And even it was half filled. They were all union guys, people that were like basically bust in there.
And you're going to be doing that on Gutfeld Exclamation
Yeah, we're going to do a whole hour.
The whole hour. It's a special.
Yeah.
Okay, can't wait.
I was there undercover. I was the taco.
I thought you were Rosie.
Up next, a Democrat rebranding disaster. President Trump is more popular than ever. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.